Every story matters. Only on Radio Nagarik 96.5.
Okay, everyone, this is Every Story Matters, yet another episode, but a grand one, I must say, because we have Prabal Gurung with us. Oh my God.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
No pressure at all, but no.
It's all right, Presa. We've all been there. Yeah. But thank you so much, Prabal, for coming to Every Story Matters. And I think we're very glad to have you over here, and we're going to have a wonderful session, wonderful chit chat.
Well, I hope so.
So
the pressure's on you too. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, totally. So girls, guys, and your fans, followers usually tell you this, that they are so excited and they get baffled by your, presence at places, events. Do you get that a lot? You must be getting that a lot.
I do get a lot of people who come up to me and they appreciate what I've done, and it feels wonderful. Mm-hmm. For me, the most wonderful things that I've had encountered is एकचोटि न्यू रोडमा न्यू रोडमा विशाल बजारनिर जाँदाखेरि there was this one woman, an older woman, who recognized me, and त्यसपछि आएर अनि बाबु तपाईँ प्रबल गुरुङ हो? अनि मैले हजुर भनेपछि नि तपाईँ त हाम्रो सबै आमाहरूको छोरा हो हैन, के अरे यो देशको छोरा हो, तपाईलाई त त्यही भएर धन्यवाद भन्नलाई मात्रै आएको. So for me, I've had moments like that. I've had moments where people have said, hi, can I take a selfie? And I said, and then I'm like, before I could say, what's your name? She's just gone. It's like, so I've had random things, but I'm always appreciative of it.
So how is it different back home and where you work, US? The recognition.
The recognition. Both. It's different because there are more designers there. Also, fame is relative. I always feel like for me, त्यो के अरे आफ्नो fame भन्ने उसमा त्यति ध्यान र जोड पनि दिएन. मेरो त कामको लागि मात्रै हुन्छ नि. I've always been driven by my passion to make clothes and tell a story through clothes. त्यही भएर अनि त्यो fame हुने उसमा चाहिँ नि उनी भने the difference is but obviously probably the first few want to go outside and make it as a designer. त्यही भएर यहाँ आउँदा चिनिन्छ. तर it's I don't really take it seriously, so I don't know even how to answer that. Yeah.
Wow. So Prabal, Nepal is your homeland. तपाईँको नेपालमा तपाईँ आइरहनुहुन्छ. Even though you work there and just a weapon, you still come back to Nepal. But a lot of cities, you even when you were young, तपाईँ धेरै cities-मा जानुभएको छ. Singapore, Delhi, Mumbai, New York. Tell us your journey. हुन्छ नि कसरी काठमाडौँबाट Singapore and everything connect भयो.
I was born in Singapore. I was born in Singapore. अनि हुर्केर बढेको चाहिँ काठमाडौँमै हो. अनि त्यसपछि then I went to India to study. त्यसपछि त्यहाँ बसेर and then London, Australia, and then I went to America. New York त्यो चाहिँ नि अब यहाँ चाहिँ नि पढाइको मात्रै भयो हैन, फ्यामिली पनि यही भयो. अनि न्युयोर्क जाने चाहिँ नि फ्यासन डिजाइनिङ पढ्ने इच्छा भएर नै जानला. I didn't know when I was growing up that it was even a possibility. Fashion designing त कस्तो भने बोर्ड हाउसवाइफ्स को काम थियो हैन, त्यसै भन्थे. अनि मैले when I was leaving पढ्न जान्छु भन्दाखेरि मेरो मुवालाई सबैजनाले के बाउलाई क्या हुन्छ नि छोरालाई हुन्छ नि त्यो पनि अझै फ्यासन डिजाइनिङ पढाउने भन्ने त्यस्तो कुरा भएको थियो. अनि मलाई चाहिँ सबैलाई हबी त राम्रो हो तर काम चाहिँ के गर्ने भनेर सोध्थेँ हैन.
This was in 1990
like around 1999 2000. Okay. And I would say to 2000 like 1999 2000 and I used to say this is what I want to do. भन्दाखेरि हुन्छ नि त्यो luckily, I grew up, I went to St. Xavier School, all boys school. हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ नि के भयो भने I was told I was different. I was different. I went through a lot of bullying, a lot of चाहिँ गाह्रो भयो. पढाइमा पनि त्यति राम्रो पढ्न सकिएन हैन. हाम्रो दाइ र दिदी चाहिँ they were brilliant students हैन. I was as I said earlier, I was like a cautionary tale. तर कस्तो भयो भने मलाई त्यहाँ अहिले हेर्दाखेरि फर्केर हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ नि त्यो जुन समय थियो सेन्ट जेभियर स्कुलमा जसरी कठिनाइहरूसँग बाधा अडचनहरूसँग गर्नु पर्यो त्यसले चाहिँ के सिकायो भने it prepared me for the world. त्यही भएर growing up, I used to sketch a lot. I used to, that was my passion, that was my escape. And so when I decided to study fashion, it was obviously, it felt normal. But yeah. not for everyone else.
You're a very visual person.
हजुर.
Yeah, and a lot of people see you as a very colorful person as well.
Yeah, I hope so. In a good way, I hope.
Yeah, in a very good.
Yeah, it is actually.
Yeah,
All right, so we just know that you had your struggles in your past as a kid growing up, and like you said, it prepared you for the world. And did it prepare you enough for that different world where they say like that American dream, you know? And was it always in your dream list, in your goal list? To be in that place and
it was. Here's the thing. What I wanted to do was I wanted to study fashion and I wanted to become a designer. There was no doubt about it. I didn't know. I was thinking of starting somewhere here to be completely honest. In Nepal, I got to India, because I went to NIFT and then I started working in Mishra there. And then I didn't. Instinctively, I knew it was not the right decision to be here or in India. Then I watched an Oprah Winfrey show, and it talked about living your dreams, living, like being courageous to live your dreams and everything. And I remember turning to my sister and I said, try गर्नु America. अब सबै धेरै ठाउँहरु घुमे तर अमेरिका त कहिले पनि गएको छैन. एकचोटी I wanted to try it, and so I applied to Parsons and I got through, and I decided to go there. And then I wanted to. So once I reached there, and I wanted to, how do I say? I wanted to make a living out of something that I loved. Like truly, truly deeply loved, because that's what my mom and that's how we were raised. She always said, I don't care how much money you make, I want you to make sure that you're happy doing what you do. It was just that. Yeah, because it was unheard of, you know.
At that time, mentally, follow your passion. And
let me remind you, त्यो नै अब doctor or engineer को passion हैन. Luga silaउने पर्छ. Fashion, yeah.
At that point of time, nobody actually saw the prospect about this profession.
I even doubt if my own family did. But they wanted me to be happy, and they knew this was all I ever wanted to do.
But they believed in you.
They believed in it. It's just even my siblings, my sister and my brother, they knew that I had in it. And but it was. New York. It's living in New York it's grueling. It's hard work. It's a hustle. And but I'm glad.
Prabal, you mentioned Oprah Winfrey, because of her interview, then you decided to go to the US. And ultimately, this sounds almost like a fairy tale. You dressed her as well.
Yes.
And did you tell her this?
So basically, my first collection, this magazine by the phone, so I made it, and she flew me to Chicago to meet her. And we talked, and she said, how did we find you? And I told her the story. This is what it is. I saw your thing. I was crying. She was crying. It was very emotional. So I am fortunate enough to have met her and met a lot of incredible women who've always inspired me. So yeah.
Yes, and one of the biggest inspiration is your own mother and your sisters in your family. And for a fact, I know that you have a very humble and very inspiring, as you say, an open-minded family. And I think Pratyush and I were discussing about this event. Tell us if it is right or wrong. The boldness and the courage that you have today is due to your mother, because she taught you the right way to do it at an early age. While the tiniest things, when you were curious about a skirt or eyeliner, she told you the right way to do it. Is it true?
Yeah, it is 100% true. My mom used to say, "No bidonu, no doronu." That was pretty much our thing, right? And this was there was no. I was curious about my sister's dresses or the makeup that she wore, and she. It was she never thought it was. Early on, this is so early on in our lives, she never thought clothes or makeup is gender assigned. You know what I mean? It could be for guys and girls. It really didn't matter. She is someone who's been the biggest inspiration for me because her integrity is so intact. She's spoken for people within her family also, and her things that she's seen in culture, like she's spoken up against it and for it. Let me just start with this thing. My father is a Gurung, my mother is a Rana. It's an intercaste marriage, भनेपछि, you can only imagine at that time what kind of a backlash and everything that they felt. They got separated, and she was, she pretty much raised us on her own. My father was in and out of our our lives. Imagine the difficulty that she went through, but she never once, we were aware of the reality of what was going on, but she never once made us feel like we were less than. Like, I think I understood my worth pretty early on. And I always used to say, the world needs to catch up to it. I know it sounds very arrogant, but I just understood myself. I knew that my heart was so clear about like what I wanted to do and like my intention and my passion that I just thought the world will see it later, eventually.
Yeah, a lot of people struggle, especially the millennials today and us. We go through this identity crisis, and we go back and forth to our childhood. And a lot of people, I see the youngsters suffering from a lot of, anxiety and depression due to their childhood memories and the sort of upbringing they had. But you set a really good example. Despite being raised by a single mother, you actually not just made out there, but made it big. And what sort of mindset does one needs to have that sort of confidence?
Oh boy, like I would say you need to have a great support system with your family. Definitely. I'm very close to my brother and my sister. Like we almost like when my brother lives in Bombay. He works in Bollywood. He's a director there and assistant directors and all that stuff. He makes films there. My sister lives here. She works. Besides doing a lot of her stuff that she does with writing and all that stuff, she's also runs our foundation. The foundation is run by 4 women. So for me, how I look at it is, मेरो मात्र हैन हरेक मान्छेको आफआफ्नो घटनाहरू हुन्छ हैन आफआफ्नो अतीतको हुन्छ नि कुराहरू. There's so many things that we all go through it. It is really about a support system. It is also about really having, for me, I realized that since nobody else was telling me that I was good enough, growing up, like not besides my family, I realized I had to tell myself, and I don't know what it was that I had in me. I was just like I knew my worth. That's all I can say. And it took a while. It took its toll. Like I went through a lot, but what I knew was I was not going to allow the world to tell me that I don't deserve this when I know I do.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much.
Probably you childhood ma. You mentioned you were bullied.
Yeah.
And often अहिले पनि बच्चाहरुलाई bully गर्छ हैन. And it's because एउटा majority एउटा जुन chunk हुन्छ उनीहरुको values belief हुन्छ अलिकति misfit गर्ने बित्तिकै they try and bully people. You had a sort of effeminate characteristics थियो, and that can be seen in your design today as well. Course, talk to me about gender and the हुन्छ नि यो gender सँग surrounded fashion world especially त्यो जुन stigma हुन्छ नि. You're trying to break that every single day after day. You're working, your designs reflect that. Talk to me about the gender of fashion ko stigma.
I feel like my goal is more than gender. That also I think my goal and my aim is to dismantle the patriarchy.
Yep.
That's what it is. It's a bottom line. It is that. Pitrik, Pitri, whatever you think. It's like and. I want to end that because I do feel that more women and minorities in the position of power is absolutely needed because the world, if you look at the world where we are right now, politically, climate crisis, all the human crisis and everything, it's a hand of bunch of men making those decisions. So I truly believe it needs to be an equal position of power. So my goal as a fashion designer, like making clothes for women and men and everything, is to kind of advocate for that. And how I do that is literally challenging in every form. In a conversation like this, on a runway show, defining what a man looks like, redefining what a woman looks like, what they can wear, what they can't wear. I mean, it's really silly to me that, an inanimate object like, let's say, shoes, accessories, and clothes have to be like, gender specific, I think So I always say, like, in every creative person, a truly great creative person are very much in touch with their feminine side, which is like the emotional side, the sensitive side, the empathetic side. And I think that is what is needed, that is what is needed more in the world. And I think, if the more, breaking down the, dismantling the patriarchy is not necessarily just about the position of power. It's also like our emotional being. If you look at like a role of a straight man, right? Is a straight male is not supposed to show their emotions, not supposed to be sensitive, and all. You know how taxing it is for them, right? And so I think I want to be able to live in a society. Hopefully, in my lifetime, there will be a change where, especially in Nepal, where I see, such where I no longer see biases against minorities and women, and I see it every day happening here. Like I hear about the property rights, they have zero rights. I read about domestic violence in every society class and everything, and I'm shocked at the silence of people. So for me, like it's really how I look at it is like, my God, like this is almost 2020. And we have no reason to be like, oh, we don't know about it. We have access to digital media and everything, exposure and everything. Is there. Oh yeah, and for me, like I find it really problematic when we keep silent about it. For me, how I look at it is this: I make clothes for women. I profit out of them, and I make my industry and my business is run by minorities, LGBTQs, immigrants, and everything. If I don't speak up for their right, I'm not doing justice, and I have to. I mean, I think it's ethically, morally wrong just to keep silent about this. And I urge for me, like this is my call out and my urge to the privileged class in Nepal and around the world to speak up. Because it'll be too late. It could happen to your daughter, it could happen to your son, it could be any of your friends or your sisters or the brothers. And I think I don't believe in blaming. I believe in having a conversation around it, because domestic violence, anything that kind of patriarchal, like this dominance and everything, it stems out of insecurity, it stems out of mental health. The conversation is around that, so anyway, that's my goal. Very serious and heavy.
We absolutely love you for this attitude of yours. You've always stood up for those who need it, and you have encouraged those who cannot. So, Pratyush, you might not know this, and I'm going to give you a flashback.
Okay, oh shit. Oh, no.
So
sorry. She's been stalking you for a very long time.
All right. So I'm going to bring back this memory, if you do remember. Okay. So this was at, I won't mention the event, I won't mention the person's name or anything. So this was at an event. And maybe it was a fashion show or something like that. And maybe this was a few years back. So you get this question a lot: when will you, design a dress for Miss Nepal's or this, or actors, actresses of Nepal? And this question was asked then and there as well. And the question was asked by, when will you be, like, this particular person is going to this big event, so would you be willing to...
Are you talking about Miss Nepal?
No.
Okay, yeah.
No. So seriously, this person is going to this major event, so would you be willing to design a dress? So you said, I will design the dress if she will speak for herself. Because at that point she was not speaking, the other person was speaking for her. So you were
oh my God.
I know. So you've been just like that ever since.
I do, like, but here's the thing, like, I always have believed, like, if you want something, you have to ask for it.
Yes.
That's the only way, because
nothing is given.
Nothing is given. It's also, you're going to value how much you appreciate it when you've worked for it.
So I was saying, well, the thing about your dreams, I mean, you definitely were planning to be a fashion designer, but were you at that age, at that time, planning to be this famous designer who would get all these fames? And you certainly deserve all this, because your work shows that. But were you planning for those kind of goals?
So here's the thing. I knew I wanted to be a designer. I knew that I had certain goals. to become a famous designer. Oh, I want to be famous. That was not. I wanted to be. What I always said was, when there's history written about this particular moment, I just want a line in it. That's what I always said. For me, it was very important that my work had value in the society and had some kind of relevance to it. And so, yes, did I want to dress certain women? Did I want to achieve? Did I have milestones and goals? Absolutely. I've always been that. I have a vision board. I've always written down things I want to achieve and everything. I've always been that way. And so yes, that happened. But fame was never
on your list.
the goal.
Okay.
Fame was never the goal for me. I wanted to do great work, good work, and enjoy doing it. But also along the lines, I wanted to be this. So I had a list of it.
Okay. So how are the goals back then and now?
And
also, how do one prepare oneself for such kind of fame when he or she is not even planning for it?
Yeah. I think I worked, before I launched my company 10 years ago, I worked for 10 years under other people, almost 10 years under other people. And I think it really prepared me. And I strongly, highly recommend everyone to do that. Internship, working under people and everything, prepares you for the world. And I think, because I was in such close proximity in the fashion world of New York without, being the designer there, working behind the scenes, I saw how, when you take fame seriously, how it can completely change you. So I mean, for me, I don't know how else. I mean, I really haven't thought about it. So it just happened, and it also, I thought it was going to, I will say that, I thought it was going to take, it was slower. The minute I launched my collection, it got on the cover of Women's Wear Daily, which is usually 7 days, the cover matani, the usual Ralph Lauren, Calvin, Donna, they always get the cover. And it was my collection and that got it. And so it completely took off after that.
Yeah.
And so for me, I didn't have a choice to be oh, you know what, I'm this famous. I didn't have time.
In the blink of an eye was all.
Yeah, it was all it didn't happen that Michelle Obama, Kate Middleton, this actresses, all that stuff, awards and everything happened. So I was and then I launched my foundation, Shiksha Foundation Nepal. Yeah, Shiksha Foundation Nepal. 8 वर्ष अगाडि launch गरेपछि that took over my kind of attention also, because it gave me a different sense of purpose. So yeah, so I just one really doesn't have time to. I think the day you say, you know what, I've made it, that's the time when you quit.
Yeah.
All right. म चाहिँ अलिकति deviate गरेँ ल प्रबल, because I want to talk about तपाईले एकदमै issue उठाइरहनु भएको छ, and this issue is सबैजनाले हामीले शेयर गर्ने एउटा shared common idea of beauty भनेर हामीले शेयर गर्छौँ भने जुन beauty pageantsहरु हुन्छ तिनीहरुलाई मात्र beautiful भन्ने, but you've racial diversity लाई embrace गरिसक्नु भएको छ तपाईले भनेको. But what you've also done is plus size models हरुलाई पनि लुगा बनाउनु हुन्छ. So तपाईको in your opinion, what is beauty?
Yeah, in my opinion, a beauty is someone's allowing someone to exist and validate their existence through your work, which what means is seeing that redefining this one narrow, specific, Eurocentric idea of a beauty, what beauty looks like, right? Gori chitti, आँखा ठुल्ठुलो भएको, यस्तो सर्लक्क परेको, that's the only definition of beauty, even when we have here. I like to challenge that. For me, I always say that, my world is stronger in color, which literally means my collection and everything, but also I like diverse people who look different, who have different parts of the world. And I always question this. हाम्रो definition of beauty has been defined by the European world, the white world.
Definitely.
In a very, as I said, the Eurocentric features have been, for centuries, been portrayed as what they were the ruling class. That's what they thought, right?
Yeah.
And so subconsciously, even in the rest of the world, we still think that is the idea of beauty. If you look at Korea, right? When all the plastic surgery, in the Asian countries that happens, it's closer to the Eurocentric beauty. So for my goal is, my mission, I would rather say, is to at least provide different kind of features, different kind of beauties, different kind of ideas that I find fascinating, and present it to the world and give them the same platform that traditional beauty gets. So that's why I have problems with, beauty pageants like Miss Nepal or any of the Miss Universe and Miss World. I understand. Like, let me just put it this way: I understand the opportunity that it provides to a lot of these girls. I also understand that they work really hard, so I don't want to take away from that. But I have a problem when the majority of the people owning the business are run by men. Okay, yes. and the idea of a certain kind of beauty is proposed is that when the beauty pageant world celebrates different and diverse kind of beauty, race, gender, size, all that stuff, is when I will be like fully supporting it. It's as simple as that. Because I get this question a lot. So anyway, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Ani मलाई अर्को पनि कुरा सोध्न मन लाग्यो. So you started your collection PG Prabal Gurung in 2009 with $20,000 out of your own wallet. You took a big risk and you've completed 10 years. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And you have a new book that's out. It's called Prabal Gurung Style and Beauty with a Bite. Tell us about the book.
Well, the book is a culmination of my 10 years of work. Like it's, it took me a year and long to work on this, year and a half. It's a book about an immigrant's American dream come true. It is about how do you make a dream possible when all the circumstances around you are impossible and are telling you that it is absolutely impossible for you to achieve this. It is a celebration of diversity. It's a celebration of beauty. It's a celebration of color. It's a celebration of where I'm from, which is Nepal, my experience and my travels. And it truly, truly is a celebration of how I want to see the world colorful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so we just talked about your journey. I personally want to know that, and it would help a lot of fashion designers, learners, out there, that has a Prabal Gurung ever failed?
Yeah, a lot. I think we all do as humans, we all are. Nobody's perfect. Like I've failed several times. I've like challenged, and I've had challenges. I have ups and downs. I've had days when I don't want to get out of bed because I'm just like, oh God, I don't know what I'm doing with this collection, and all that stuff. And I'm sure I've failed as a partner. To someone, I've failed as a friend to someone, but of course we do.
Yeah, we
do. I don't consider myself and what I find human frailties, is what I find the most fascinating thing about all of us in Sydney. So yeah, of course I'm there with so many times.
Okay, so how do you cope up with that? Because
well, here's the thing. There's several ways. Depends on how heavy and severe it is. So how you cope up with it is you look at it, you acknowledge it, you allow yourself a day or two to cry about it, then you get a plate of momos, and
do you get momos in US?
Yes, we do. I mean, not as good as there's no whole momo, whatever, right? And so you get that, and I'll eat Nepali food, or I'll listen to music. I'll listen to Nepali music, or I'll listen to Bollywood music. Then I have this whole playlist of different kind of music, and I listen to it and I dance to it, and and my main thing has been talking to my brother and my sister. It's been the best thing. So that's how I get over it. And I also when there's a down, the only way this doesn't go further. There's the next is up. When you're up, it's going to go down. That's how life is. So I don't really take it too seriously. Literally, that's my way of getting out of it. Momos, a plate of good momos.
Okay, food.
Right. So food is, yes.
Yeah. So you turn to food hard times ko garnako लागि, but there are, I know, obviously you have different traits, and one of the traits that is right up there at the highest is empathy. Philanthropy, तपाईलाई एकदमै अरूलाई दिन मन लाग्छ, right? And especially Nepalमा 2015 को earthquake को बेलामा पनि, because you wanted to aid those people, those who were affected. You started your show with monks or prayer about it, and you raised over $1 million. And what about your giving? Is तपाईलाई केले आफ्नो Nepal, you're working in New York, तपाईँको नेपाल त जन्मस्थल हो होइन जन्मस्थल भन्यो
Like
नि
a good
होमल्यान्ड
people, yeah.
होइन it wouldn't be wrong to call it
No,
जन्मस्थल
for sure, yeah, exactly.
So what about Nepal तपाईँलाई दिन मन लाग्छ you want to come over and over help गर्न मन लाग्छ के छ नेपालमा
And before you answer his question, I want to add to that. You belong to this industry where it's all glitz and glam, and amidst of all those glamorous faces and glamorous ideas of work that you do, how do you connect with this empathy? How do you attach yourself with this spirituality that you do? And this being so kind, because there's like it's so practical word you must be like really away from it, this spiritual thing. And how do you connect yourself?
Yeah, how do I connect myself, or how do I remain kind? I know what it feels like to be at the receiving end of unkindness. You know, I know what it feels like.
You've been there.
Yeah, I've been there. I know what it feels like to be treated as if you don't exist. You know, where your visibility is, doesn't matter to someone else at the position of power. So I'm extremely aware of that. So I never wanted to be that person. Going back to Nepal, Nepal is a big my identity. Pretty much I early on realized, I have a choice of becoming just any other designer, like just New York-based designer or a designer who's from Nepal, and I wanted to tell that story. I realized that the responsibility that I had coming from here was like, I didn't have to do all the stuff. I didn't have to speak about Nepal. I didn't have to do anything. But I realized that's who I am, and I'm never going to run away from my identity and my heritage. And it makes me different and unique. अनि the empathy को कुरामा चाहिँ कस्तो भयो भने what is success and fame or the followers or notoriety if you can't use it for someone else who needs it more,
Wow.
मलाई चाहिँ I there's a simple philosophy I follow. I always say the absolute truth about our lives is the impermanence of it. We all have to go one day.
Beautiful.
There's no doubt about it. So the arrogance of people in power who causing so much injustice is like their lack of awareness of their impermanence is making them do that. So I'm ruled by that. When it's our time to go, we can't take any of this with me, with us.
Yes.
So what are you going to leave behind? So I've always been motivated by that. What is the legacy going to be? It doesn't need to be the biggest thing. It needs to be. I always say, I just want to be able to touch one life, inspire one person, and that's a job well done for me, and that's how I've always been motivated. So my kindness, thoughtfulness, empathy that you guys are talking about is simply because of that. It's just I just want to see a fair world, where everyone deserves a chance. And that's when I launched my company in 2009, and everyone made a joke about it. It was I said, I want to start a luxury brand with a soul. And nobody in fashion was like, what do you even mean by that? And I said, soul to me is the ability to see someone else in front of you and tell them that they matter. Their existence matters, that through my work, I wanted to make sure that they are validated. It was a very important factor for me. That's why I speak about all the issues that I speak out about. That's why I continue to make things, majority of things in New York, and things made, all my cashmeres and everything is done in here. Started my foundation, all of that stuff. That's how it's at.
And that's why you established Shiksha Foundation as well, which is actually Nepalko underprivileged kids or education ko field ma chahi uplift गरिरहेको छ. They are enabling them to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And I said, just so that I started my foundation 8 वर्ष अगाडि चाहिँ के भएको थियो भने the minute I started, as I told you, I started dressing all these people and everything, and actually right after that Charles Dickens collection, the Great Expectations collection, पछि के भएर आयो भने Fashion Week Daily newspaper मा चाहिँ नि the cover was my collection, and there was a picture of mine, and the title, it said A Star Is Born, right? And so I read that, and of course, you get flowers, and everyone's like, oh my God, you're doing so well, da 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 da. Now all of a sudden, every door to a club and a restaurant's open for you, And I just looked at it, and I called my brother and my sister, and I said, all these big words are being thrown at me. I'm going to start believing the hype. मलाई चाहिँ अब यो चाहिँ नि यदि के मैले यदि राम्रो उसमा डाइभर्ट गरेन भने I'll start believing it. And it's going to get to my head. That's when we started. We started with 12 girls. Then now we've gone to more than 300 children. We've been able to. We just started an education initiative in female prisoners in Palpa, and our goal is to education in and out of school, and especially art education, because I do know art vaneko, whether in every form, writing, music, all of that. I do know the only way for our universe to survive, the only way for our universe to have this feminine energy of like empathy, emotion, and caring and sensitivity is through art. There's no doubt about it in my mind. That's the only way to heal this world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that explains the whole purpose of Shiksha Foundation.
Yeah.
As well.
And it's, let me just tell you this, and it is run by 4 strong women. 100% of what we raise goes to the causes. We have 0 overheads, and we've been running it for 8 years like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so
kudos to that.
Yeah.
And all the best wishes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So Prabal, you started your brand, PG, Prabal Gurung, in 2009. You've come a long way since that, but you've also mentioned time and again that PG, Prabal Gurung, is not just your brand. It represents people from whoever's influenced you. It represents all the minorities. It represents all the people associated with you or you've ever come across your lives. So why the eponymous label? Why Prabal Gurung? Naam chai tyo kina rakhnu bhayo?
I wanted to name it Prabal Rana Gurung. Because as my mom's a Rana, my father's a Gurung, and to be completely honest, I've had more influence from my mother than my father. I wanted to do that, when I started, but everyone kind of advised me against it because, everyone's so in the way of like patriarchy. That's why my personal Instagram is Prabal Rana Gurung.
किनभने तपाई त नेपालबाट जानु भएको हो हैन अनि प्लस अब you started establishing your brand in the US हैन नेपाली नामहरु चाहिँ गाह्रो पनि होला
गाह्रो भएकै भएर मैले चाहिँ किन भने मैले सुरुमा nobody could say Prabal, a lot of people can't still say and let alone Gurung, so I was like why should I make it easy? That's my name, and I don't believe it. किनभने यदि उनीहरुले के रे Gianni Versace भन्न सक्छ भने हैन or like Givenchy भन्न सक्छ भने हुन्छ नि like Azadin Alaya, all that stuff they can say that I felt like they should learn how to say my name too. Wow. It's as simple as that.
So
literally
taking it away.
Yeah.
I mean,
Presa सुनिराको पछि पनि तिमीलाई केही कम्पनी खोल्नु मन लाग्यो भने आफ्नो you gotta. I think that reflects diversity as well.
Yeah, and it is, because here's another thing was also for me. It was like, bro, what is that name? Where is he from? What's in the conversation? What is that name?
It's intriguing.
Yeah, that's what it's a conversation starter. That's what it is. Whatever I do, whether through clothes, whether through how I represent myself, how I show up, whatever I do, it's a conversation. My job is a conversation starter. My job is to and let the conversation go somewhere else. But nam chin nagare pani tei nei ho.
Actually, it would be like so interesting. Then it would help you to connect human to human. When they ask you about your name and your originality, and that way a beautiful kind of conversation starts.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what fashion is supposed to do. Like you ask, where did you get that from, or what is that ring that you're wearing? There could be a story. Like that's why I say it's very important that we think about what we wear, where we buy, how it is made, all that stuff, because there's a story behind all of that. So yeah.
And we do really appreciate you take Nepal everywhere you go.
No, thank you. I mean, that's my identity.
In your designs, in your accounts, you are so updated about then most of us.
I hope so. Like, yeah.
And you're advocating there from like so far away.
Because it's easy to lose sight of horizon. त्यहाँ गएर त्यो glitz and glamour, like Presa said, लाइट्सहरुमा नेपाल भनेर त कहाँ छ भन्नु नेपाल भनेको त कतिजनालाई थाहा पनि हुन्न.
Trust me, like listen, I know exactly. When I'm in the Met Gala, when I go to the Met Gala, I'm like like I'm with Nicki Minaj and all this stuff, and at my table and all this. Then I'm like all of a sudden I'm dancing on the floor, and it's like Beyonce is there with Jay-Z, and they're like, hey, and so for me, I'm like literally, I'm just like, okay, I'm like, hey, how are you? Like, I'm like, how the hell did this happen to me? Or the better still was, I'll never forget that, Michelle Obama's 50th birthday too. It was a very closed off party, and she had invited me to that, and I was dancing, and I love dancing. I'm like, I am actually a fun person, so and I was like dancing with Solange, and I was like, because I've known her for a long time, and then all of a sudden I got a tap on my shoulder, and it's like Michelle Obama, and she's like, I want you to meet Barack, you know, and I'm like, and I said, okay, and I looked at Solange and I said, oh my God, I'm going to meet the president, you know, and I was very chilled about it.
I think that's exactly how we were when we got to meet.
Oh, got it.
Yes.
Okay, well, you know, I mean, it's a difference. There's a slight difference, but so for me, how I look at it is like all this stuff is byproduct of what I do. It is really, I'm grateful for those moments. I don't take those, I can live without those moments, you know. I'm very grateful for it though, like because it allows me to push my story, take my story further. That's all it is. Your association with celebrated people, whom we refer as celebrities, are simply to push your, continue the good work and this story further, because like-minded people come together, right? Not every famous person is going to be your friend. Not every celebrity is going to be your friend, but when you're like-minded people, your souls connect, you start spreading the story. Yeah, it is. It is as simple as that, yeah.
Well, I just realized that he took all the big names out there.
No, I was not name dropping. Let me just put it out. If I was to name drop, I would be like, no, I'm just kidding.
No, we just enjoyed it. We thoroughly enjoyed it because two amateurs in front of you and listening to, sharing the same table with a person who has shared table with so many people who is like globally recognized. It's an honor.
Oh, thank you.
एउटा प्रश्न अर्को because you say you've always followed your passion. Fame was secondary for you, होइन? Primary thing was always following your passion. त्यही drawing गर्नुहुन्थ्यो, होइन? And there are a lot of हाम्रो कन्टेक्स्टमा चाहिँ, especially in Asian कन्टेक्स्टमा चाहिँ अलिकति instant gratification को चाहिँदो रहेछ होइन मान्छेहरूलाई. त्यही भएर आफ्नो वर्क पुट इन गर्नुभन्दा पनि people choose the easier path होइन, जहाँबाट चाहिँ रिजल्ट धेरै आउँछ. And that's what so many youths हाम्रो एजको अथवा भनौँ न अलिक भर्खरै हाई स्कुल सकाएको मान्छेहरू they're coming up होइन. You've got anything to say to them?
I say, be hungry, don't be thirsty. You know, you need to have the hunger and the drive. But you can't be that desperate that you're thirsty for it, you know. So I think it's extremely important that we, the youth, recognize, realize that, everyone's success and recognition happens at different pace and different time.
Agreed.
There's no age, there's no timeline that everything is supposed to happen for everyone that way. Some people get famous in their 50s, 60s, 70s, Some people get in like 7 years old. It doesn't matter. And I think as long as you're able to tell your story, are genuinely yourself. And that's all I feel like. And I find, having said that, I do find the younger generation so inspiring.
You find the younger generation inspiring.
because I feel like they're redefining how they're presenting themselves. They're redefining how how they tell the story. It's in the position now, but the power is in their hands. So yeah.
All right. Well, we are having this wonderful conversation, and I don't want it to be over anytime soon. But Pratyush, as you always say, that time waits for none.
मेरो त यही नै हो कि grievance चाहिँ यही हो कि show गर्दाखेरि we get all these wonderful people and we're having a great conversation, होइन? And we go on and we could go on and on.
I know we could go on.
Yeah, isn't it the master class for us?
मेरो लागि त हो. I think we can visibly see म त एकदमै nervous थिएँ, and then finally your conversation with you put me at ease. Thank you so much for coming to our show.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm going to be really honest. I was not even looking at the camera, guys, if you noticed. Okay. So anyways, well, it was very inspiring, your story, the way you advocate and everything. You live by example. That is what I feel about you. And thank you so much for your time.
Of course.
And your patience and being so kind for us, for coming to the show and everything.
It's a pleasure. It's an honor.
And lastly, what I want from you is I want to know that, like you said, you get inspired from the millennials, the upcoming generation. How do you want them to understand fashion?
Fashion, like any creative field, is a means of expressing and telling your story. Do you want a story that is a sentence, or do you want a story that is a page long or a book? It's totally up to you. that is your story worthy of a book? It depends on how much you work hard and what you create out of it. So I like to look at them to look at fashion as that, a means to tell the story and change the world.
Yes. Okay, yes.
So on that note,
yes, thank you so much one more time.
No, thank you very much. It was such a pleasure. It was fun, actually.
For sharing your story on Every Story Matters. And well, like you said, and like we always say, every story does matter.
Yeah,
One
for
life
sure.
touched is a life touched. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Utmost gratitude.
All right, that is it from from the studios of Radio Nagarik 96.5. You are listening to Every Story Matters with your voice, Pratyush.
And your voice, Presa. I hope you had an amazing time like we did. And yes, Prabal, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye, everyone. Keep tuning into Radio Nagarik 96.5.
Every Story Matters, only on Radio Nagarik 96.5.